Here we go. So I want to share with you in this video the C word that can transform your business. And the reason I share this with you is because let me ask you this question. Who is more valuable to your business? A paying client or somebody who likes you on Instagram or Facebook? It's pretty obvious, right? The paying client. Who is more valuable to your business potentially? An email subscriber or somebody who liked one of your social posts? Most likely an email subscriber. So what is the difference in these two scenarios? What's the difference between someone who's paying you money versus someone who just follows you on Instagram? What's the difference between someone who likes one of your social posts or somebody who's actually on your email list? And the difference comes down to this C letter word, which I'll tell you about in just a second. But I think the easiest way to help you understand this is by sharing an idea with you that flies in the face of convention in respect to what the gurus have told us for years. And I call this the conversion commitment conundrum. So I'm going to just share this on my screen, and I don't know if you're on the good old Instagrams, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but if you're on Facebook, you should be able to see this. So it's basically a graph, X and Y axis, okay? And what we see here is CVR, which is conversion rate on the Y axis, and the C letter called commitment, the C word, on the X axis. And so here's what happens is most people, and I think we can all agree, we'd like the highest possible conversions, right? So if 100 people visit your webpage, perfect scenario, all 100 of them opt in or buy your thing, right? That's the utopian scenario, but it's not going to happen. So with the goal of maximizing conversions, we tend to compromise the quality of a lot of these leads based on this C word, which is called commitment. Because here's what happens, is this decay curve. So essentially, if you can't see this, you have the highest conversion rates when there is the lowest commitment required, and lower conversion rates when we have higher commitment required. So the question I want to pose to you is, what's the one thing you want all of your clients to have? I mean, other than money, obviously, that's obvious, right? But the one thing, and I've been doing this for a long time now, the one thing all of our clients want, and I think most other health professionals who coach clients, the one thing we all want are committed clients, right? So we want people that are committed to their journey, to their healing process, to the outcome that they say they want. So if committed clients is what we're after, then wouldn't it make sense to emulate the marketing or the sales journey, the sales process in such a way where it forces people to show their commitment? You get what I'm saying? So let me give you an example. A lot of people ask me why we don't run live webinars. And the reason I don't run live webinars is for one simple reason, is that when people register, the vast majority of them never show up. So if you have let's say a people landing on your page today and the webinar is tomorrow or the next day or the next day after that, the majority of them, when I say the majority, I'm talking about like 70% or more are not going to show up. And I've seen this now. I've been doing this now for 15 years, and every single time it happens all the time. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not talking about we're promoting a webinar that's a month away. I'm talking about we're promoting a webinar today that's going to happen tomorrow, the next day, or the day after. So like a 3-day time frame. We're not talking about a huge lag. And yet the people who say, yes, I want to attend, never attend. And when I say never, I'm talking like the vast majority of them. A couple years ago, I ran a webinar in our health business. We had 2,000 and some odd people register for the webinar. Guess how many people showed up? 110. That's pretty poor. And full transparency, so we just ran Healthpreneur Live Reloaded last week, and we had more than around 500 people registered, just under, and 18% of those people showed up. And this is with a heavy amount of reminders and text campaigns and email campaigns. So when that happens, like, it's really, really interesting to look at why people do what they do. And the reality is that this is why you can't help people for free. Okay, this is the big reason. If you want to help people improve their health, if you want to help people improve the quality of their lives, the more you think you can do that at the free level, the more you're going to suffer. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have all these great expectations of helping people, right? And you want to like grow your following and email list and all that stuff. But unless people pay, they don't pay attention. And so the reality is that free is great and it has its place, 100%. But the problem is that if it's only free and you only have people that are consuming your free stuff, remember, they're not doing anything with it. Nothing. Another example of this is YouTube. Okay, so my previous business, we had about 300,000 subscribers on YouTube, more than 1,000 videos. Quite honestly, I kind of gave away everything I knew when it comes to health, fitness, and nutrition on YouTube. So theoretically, anyone could watch all 1,000 videos, or whatever, however many there are, and more or less know everything they need to know, at least as it comes from me, to lose weight, have more energy, improve their health. And so why would someone want to pay for that then? Right? So why would someone buy one of my programs when they can get everything for free on YouTube? And the reality is that people who want results understand that speed, clarity, and guidance and accountability make all the difference. Because we can all find all the information we need, right? You could search for the rest of your life on YouTube and Google for everything you need. But the reality is that successful people understand that time is expensive and money is cheap. Okay? So people who have a lot of time on their hands usually, okay, you might want to ask some questions around that stuff. Not necessarily in a depends on your audience. We'll just put it that way. But what I'm trying to get at here is that if people don't commit, right, and the further along that spectrum we talk about in terms of commitments, the more likely they're going to do the work, the more likely they're going to get results, and the better off your business is going to be, right? And so I see this all the time where people are putting out minnow bait and they're getting minnow clients coming in, right? So like these free lead magnets, these one-page cheat sheets, stuff like that. And there's a very specific type of person who is wanting those things versus using a different type of bait, if we're using that terminology, which is going to attract a very different type of person. Very much like if you went fishing, right? If you fish for whales, now I don't promote fishing for whales or killing animals in general, but we'll save that for another day. So you're going to use different bait for a whale than you would for an anchovy. And if the goal of your business is to bring more whale clients in, you need to be using different strategies, different bait. And, this is something not a lot of people talk about because in the internet space, everyone's talking about conversions and getting the most number of leads and the cheapest quality, like the cheapest cost per lead. And that's not the way it works, guys. Like you can build an email list, that's awesome, right? But if those people don't do anything with you, who cares, right? The fact of the matter is this, and if you don't believe me, just check your stats. And I've seen this in every single business I've run and in hundreds of funnels. When 100 people, I'll just use a group of 100 people, when 100 people opt in for something they say they want, guess how many people open the first email that has access to the very thing they said they want? Just take a guess. Let me know in the comments. It's less than 55% on average. So let's just call it half. So think about this. 100% of people say, or 100 people say, I want this thing. They put their name and email in, and they go to the next page. Whatever happens there is relevant for a second. Half of them don't even go open the email or see the email that has the thing they said they want. That's a major problem to your business. So we have to think about like what can we possibly do to raise the commitment required for people to enter into my world or your world so that they're actually committed to this process. So let me give you an example. So when we're helping clients build their virtual practices, right, getting clients online, serving them online, we use a very simple business model called the Perfect Client Pipeline. Okay, it's 4 steps: Facebook ad, webinar, application, phone call. And there's a very specific reason that we do that. And there's a very specific reason that a lot of the nuances in that pipeline are the way they are. As an example, when I talk about Facebook ad, I'm not talking about 1 or 2 sentences and then a link, because that's a low commitment engagement. So instead, what I'm suggesting here, and this is exactly what we do, is you rate the longest possible ad you can think of writing. Now, again, within reason, like it needs to be long enough to get the point across, right? And it's funny because some people are like, well, like, isn't this too long? I've heard other people say it should be short and sweet. I'm like, listen, like, please, if you find someone else who's gotten ridiculous results for, decades, I'll have a chat with them. If not, don't even listen to them. And I'm not saying there's not, like, there can be opportunities for both, right? But if we're looking for people that are going to pay good money to work with you, who are committed to the process, it starts with the invitation. And the invitation is not 1 sentence and click. The invitation is read this story, read this long post. And guess what's going to happen? Some people will say in the comments, get to the point, I can't stand these things. Guess what? They're never your clients in the first place. Don't even, just ignore them, okay? Because for every person that says that, there's many, many more who are really captivated by it and are now reading an ad of yours on Facebook that stopped them in their tracks and commanded their attention, which is the number one currency we're all working with here is attention, okay? So think of commitment and attention as being 2 sides of the same coin. If you captivate someone's attention for 2 seconds, there's 0 commitment there. If you command someone's attention for 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes, that's a very different type of person. So as an example of this, you guys are watching this or listening to this, and I appreciate you for being on for this amount of time. Because there are some people that pop on and they pop right off. And I understand that, right? That's just the way it goes. So we have a long Facebook ad that invites them to register for a free online training, a webinar. Now guess what? That webinar is a time commitment on their part, right? They have to invest time, 30, 45, 60, 90 minutes to watch the thing. Again, very different level of commitment than if they just said, yeah, I want this cheat sheet, download it, and they don't even get it. So there's all these little things that you want to bake into your marketing to make people jump through hoops, okay, in a way that actually serves them in the process. Does that make sense? Because I promise you, the more you get people to commit to what you're doing or what they're doing, the more likely they are to continue with the process. And this is, I'm not making this up. This has been heavily studied in psychology. It's been heavily written about in one of the best books of all time called Influence by Robert Cialdini, which, by the way, if you haven't read, you're missing out big time. He talks about the notion of commitment and consistency, right? We tend to follow through on things that we first commit to. And we're not talking about saying, I do, like to a marriage proposal. I'm talking about something as simple as checking a box, responding to an email, reading a longer post, right? Little things like this, you can get people to climb the ladder of commitment, is always going to help you in your business. So let's go back to what I first started talking about with this conversion commitment conundrum, right? So this graph that I have on the screen here. So you might be saying, okay, Yuri, well, I want the most conversions. Well, again, what do you want? The highest conversions, or do you want the best quality clients? Because I believe they're mutually exclusive. And as an example, again, I'll just refer back to the event that we ran last week. So we had, check this out, our opt-in page for the event converted at 80%, 80%, which is like astronomical. 80% of people who landed on the page converted into like, yes, I want to attend the event. They left their name and email, they're in. It was a free event, okay? So that's from warm traffic. And then from cold traffic, Facebook ads, etc., it was 65%, still astronomical. But here's the thing, right? Is that high conversion, right? Free event, all this good stuff. High conversions, typically low commitments. And that's what we saw during the events, where we had very few people show up relative to the number of registrants. And this is going to happen all the time. I mean, Grant Cardone just put on events, the 10X Challenge. They had, like, I think 300,000 people register for the event. And 285,000 of those people did nothing. Just think of that for a second. They didn't show up, they didn't buy, nothing. 285,000. So out of 300,000 people, 15,000 people actually did something. Okay, guys, that's just the way it is. It's going to happen all the time. So either you have to play the numbers game of getting monstrous numbers and play that game, which you totally can, understanding the conversions are going to be low, or you say, you know what, we're going to go for lower conversions, right? So maybe a lower volume, but I'm going to have people jump through hoops. Then the U.S. Marines says it best. If you want the most, make it easy. If you want the best, make it hard. And if you want the best clients, make it hard. I promise you that. It'll be the best thing for them and for you. So anyways, hopefully this has made sense. The C word that will transform your business is commitment. Getting people to commit to the process before they work with you and during, and the results will be astronomically better just by doing that. If you like this kind of stuff, guys, I'm excited to let you know that you guys can actually personally text me. Okay, we got some really cool stuff going on right now. The number is somewhere on the screen, 647-424-5280. If you have a question you want me to answer, we're doing a lot of cool stuff with our text community. Hit me up, and we might invite you on the show. We can do a little Q&A on the podcast. We're going to do some other stuff, and I'm going to be sharing some of my best stuff with our text community. So again, that's 647-424-5280. I'd love to hear from you. Just send me a text. I'll respond back to you. Like literally, it'll be me. I see your thing on my phone, and I'll hit you back up. So do that today. I think we'll have a lot of fun together. And if you've enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. Let someone else know about this, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much, guys.